Hello, this video is going to be about Calypso program startup, how to set things up, get your CAD file in, and get ready to get going. So what we're going to do is create a new measurement plan. And when I create a measurement plan, there's nothing here. So I have to bring a CAD file in. Okay, so I go up here to CAD file, CAD file, load, and it's looking for a particular type of file, a step file, a certain file format. See, I already have some in here. I've converted them. That is not the standard format for Inventor. So in Inventor, it saves as a IPT, Inventor part, 3D solid part. So I'm going to have to save it. Okay, so now I have built my part per my print. Now it's critical, or else the inspection plan is a failure, that I do things exactly to the print. I don't round any numbers. I don't forget any dimensions. I have to build it exactly like this. So it's really important to understand blueprints and dimensioning practices like GDT, or geometric dimensioning and tolerancing. So here I have perpendicular within 1/1000th to datum A. That's the surface it's pointing to. So where's datum A? A letter in a box is a datum. Okay, a number in a box is a basic dimension, and on a basic dimension there's no tolerance on that basic dimension. Okay, that tolerance is based on this feature control frame. So this particular 45-degree angle, which at the bottom it says that angles are plus or minus 1 degree, is not toleranced that way because it's a basic dimension, and we follow the rules of the feature control frame in this particular case, which says that that angle is within 10,000ths to A, that's the bottom, and B, which is this side. So both this way to the angle and the bottom to the angle are 45 degrees within 10,000ths. So understanding the print is critical in order to make a good measurement plan. Sizes and locations of things are really what's needed for the Inventor part. So let's go back to the Inventor part. So I made this part. It's missing the chamfer right now, but it's going to pop up in a minute when I show you what else I built. So when I make an inspection plan, I have to figure out how am I going to hold the part, just like machining the part. How are you going to hold the part? Am I going to put it in a vise? Am I going to put it on the table? What am I going to do? So in most cases, we want to just put our part down on a table. Okay, so that way I can use a standard stylus and makes things easy. The other way is I have to lift it up on a pedestal if I want to inspect the bottom. So this top surface, if it's going to be parallel to the bottom surface, I have to have some way to check it. So I mean, I can check the top, but it has no relationship unless I can check the bottom. So if I want to actually check the bottom, I have to set it up on a pedestal and use a different probe and a whole lot of other stuff, which is way more complicated. I want to set it on the table because my table is flat. And then I will check the table in a couple of spots, and then that way I can compare it to that. So in order to do that, in Calypso, it has to have something that's considered a feature that it can do something with. So what I've done is I built as if this was part of the part. It's attached to the bottom. It goes down 1 inch, and it's a 6 by 6 square. On our parts, if we do a 6 by 6 square, that'll give us enough room for most of the parts that we're going to do to come around and touch with our stylus in a few different spots so it can get data in order to be able to compare. Okay, so now I need to save my file. So I'm going to go to File. It's an export CAD format to another CAD file format. Pick that. It's going to give me default to a DWG. That's Inventor. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to look for step. Here it is, step. As you can see, I've already saved some in my file, so I would hit save. In this case, since I've already done this, I'm not going to. That's the way it goes. So now I'm good to go. If I come back to Calypso, I don't need any clues yet. So I'm back in Calypso. Here we go. CAD, load CAD file, come over here, change it to step, because the default is this ACES, which is Calypso's very own format, which is for the most part not useful to us. So we need to change this to step, and we are going to grinding is the one we're going to do, and we're going to open it. It's going to go through and load the CAD file. It shows it as a wireframe. Don't worry, we'll get to be able to work with a solid again. But the next important thing to do is go back to CAD file, and do a thing called automatic healing. All right, what that does is, in case there's any things that aren't exactly perfect in 3D space on the conversion and bringing it in, it's going to take care of them. I need to check simplification and stitching, and okay, accept the default tolerance is fine. So now my file is in here. I'm good. I can view it. There are some things down here. This little thing's called a tooltip or a flyout. So if I hover over something, it tells me what it is. Sometimes that might not be on, and the way I turn it on, toggle it, is here. It's called bubble help. So if you don't get them coming out and you want them, check this. If they annoy you and you're an expert and you don't like seeing them, turn it off. Okay, so I'm going to leave them on to help us out, because sometimes it's nice to see. You got to hover it and hold still. Apparently I turned them off. No, I didn't. Let's see. What are we doing? There we go. Well, not sure why they weren't working up there, but anyways. So down at the bottom, I have a few things. Here where it looks like a solid, show the CAD model surfaces. I pick it, now it's a solid. Now this wireframe over here shows features with edges. It's nice if you put this on, because it kind of defines where the edge is, and when you're looking at this thing and it kind of blends together, it really helps to have those edges turned on. So the other thing is over here, define projection. What that means is pick your view. Sometimes I like to go from the top depending on what I'm doing. Most of the time I'll spend time in isometric. So I've set up my CAD file. I have turned on some things. The next order of business would be to save it. File, save. You need to make sure you save it in a specific place. Where Zeiss is going to save it by default is in a place on the C drive. And the C drive, it's in Users, Public, Public Documents, Zeiss, Calypso, Work Area, Inspections. That's where it's going to save it. It's local to that computer. So if you're on a network drive, you got your own drive, it's not advisable to work off of a flash drive, because flash drives sometimes get corrupted. You're better off working on a hard drive, a network drive, and then put it on a flash drive to move it from one machine to another. Okay, so I'm going to save it here. I'm going to call it grind. File management is really, really important. As always, it's more important than we think. So I'm going to call it grind, and I'm going to go by today's date, 1-6. It's 18, new year. Okay, and I'm going to save. And it's going to go through and it's going to save it. Now, think about it. It's got to save the Inventor file, or the step file that we brought in. That's the CAD file. It's got to save these settings, it's creating an inspection plan, and there's a large amount of stuff that it needs to have in this inspection plan. So as soon as it's done blinking here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to go and look at that folder. Computer users, public work area inspections. Here's my folder. I made a folder. Pick. Inside here are all of these different files. Okay, in here is some more stuff. Runs. When I simulate it, it'll keep track of that stuff. This is not everything. Once we define some other things in videos to follow, there's going to be a whole lot more things within this one thing. So it's going to be really important. If I'm going to move this or copy this, I have to take this whole folder. Okay, not just a part of it, a whole folder. Okay, so this is program startup. This is get my CAD file in. Now at this point, on the next video, we're going to be set to start our program.